We're on the chat with you, my man. I'm loving it.
And we're rocking the blue. I'm loving it. We're color coordinated today, man.
It's good, and I like the Red Sox logo you got on that one, too. The heart in the middle. So, hey, we got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We'll obviously go through what's trending in sports. We're also going to talk about Lamar Jackson and all the hype that his head coach, John Harbaugh, is putting around him. Then we get into some of the best basketball players in this upcoming Olympic Games. A top 10 was put out. Ountae and I have a ton of issues with all of it. We're going to get to all of that and more. But let's start with what's trending. Dude, for a guy that has seen every honor possible throughout his career, LeBron James, you could argue, about to have the greatest honor in all, whether Olympics or playing in the NBA. He will be the flag bearer for USA at the Olympic opening ceremony. He was voted on this and picked by his fellow Olympians. He's the first men's basketball Olympian to ever do this. Dawn Staley did it in the early 2000s. Sue Bird in 2021, I believe. This is huge for LeBron. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it is huge for LeBron. And to be on the same list as Dawn Staley and Sue Bird, who are two GOATs in their own sports for their own rights, coaching and playing, you know what I mean? It's a huge honor for him to be chosen out of a field of 592 U.S. Olympians voted together and made this decision to make LeBron James the leader of the pack. He's one of the greatest basketball players of all time and also one of the greatest athletes, so it makes sense.
That second one hits it. He's one of the greatest athletes of all time. This is like a no-brainer. I think what's cool, too, is you have to be picked by your fellow Olympians from your country. And Steph Curry was a big one to push. He campaigned for LeBron, nominated him, and campaigned for him to end up being the flag bearer at the opening ceremony. So it's not just on his fellow Olympians. It's someone that, like Steph, this is his first Olympic run for him, but this is LeBron, 3 gold medals. He's going for his 4th out of 5 Olympic Games he's competed in. Likely his last at his age, too. I mean, the guy's 40, but still playing at a high level. I think it's awesome recognition. And for someone that's won league MVPs, final MVPs, won NBA titles, been all-pro every year in his career just about. Same thing with an all-star, one of the best defensive players at the height of his powers. Again, everything he's accomplished. Even off the court, this is a huge honor for him to do.
Yeah, and it's another notch on him over Jordan. Jordan never got the opportunity to do that, so I know he's loving that.
There we go. We'll see Jordan's quotes about that. And then I took that personally.
I took it personally.
Hey, big news. Jordan Love, which has been trending throughout the NFL circles, a guy that put together an amazing 8, 9, 10-game sample size. Last 8 games of the regular season, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, threw 3 tutters in his lone playoff win against the Cowboys, beat them in Dallas. He told the Packers, and it came out, general manager Brian Gutekunst said, his team told him he will not step on the field until a new deal is reached, an extension. Now, he's holding in. He's at the facilities. He's in meetings. He's participating and all of that. But if you see him on the field, no pads on, walking with Matt LaFleur onto the practice field. Look, the kid's going to get paid, in my opinion. I'm all in on Jordan Love. I will get in on the early hype. I think he's going to be great. But everyone's going, you only played 8 great games. What are you doing holding in? What do you think about this?
You know, it's a little surprising considering that this is a team that surprised a lot of people last year, right? And now they're going to have kind of a target on their back, so they don't need any distractions coming into this, this season. It's not surprising in the sense that he has that team by the neck, by the throat. He can do whatever he wants because they don't have a backup option for him anymore like how they had for Aaron Rodgers, you know what I mean? So they got to pay him in order to make this work and make him happy, and they will. So it won't be a long story. It'll probably happen over the next week or so.
Well, Gutekunst said in the next couple of days. And what's smart for the Packers, they want to get this done. They want to get this deal done before Dak Prescott gets paid because that will reset the quarterback market. It's all about being the most recent guy to get paid. Because it's going to come out. Jordan Love will be the highest paid player in NFL history. And then Dak will get his deal. And then whoever the top pending quarterback in next year's free agency class will get it done. I understand a small sample size. I think Jordan Love's going to be great. I'm buying all in on him. And if I'm the Packers, I have no problem getting this deal done. Because when you give him a contract like they will, 4, 5 years, 55, 56 million a year, with a total value of 225 to 280 million, you are projecting what he's going to become. And he's still just about to get into his age 26, 27 seasons. By the time 2-3 years into this, it's going to be seen as a bargain because he's that talented. He knows his system, and Matt LaFleur's head coach isn't going anywhere with all these young receivers and all the talent they have. I'm talking about Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Luke Musgrave. Everything they have there.
Yep.
I think it's the right thing for them to do to get this deal done. I get it. Small sample size, but how incredible those 8 games were. And I don't think he's going anywhere. And again, he's staying with his play caller, which to me is huge. The familiarity of the system and the language. Matt LaFleur isn't going anywhere. That's why I'm buying in on Jordan Love to get this deal.
Yeah, and they obviously spent money on this team. Like you said, they went and got Josh Jacobs as well. They got to keep the quarterback happy because, once again, who you're going to trust? Sean Clifford next? You know what I mean? No, you're not. So make him happy. No one wants to play in Green Bay anyway. He's like, excuse me, Wisconsin. I'm sorry, but nobody wants to come to Wisconsin. So
I can vouch for that.
You know. So make him happy. Pay the kid. He wants to be here. Just do the right thing.
And what he's doing right now, and what the Packers are in a spot, you'd rather have somebody at quarterback than nobody.
Yep.
That's why they're going to pay him.
Yep.
And you can look at the examples like a Daniel Jones, where that's crippling the Giants. Jordan Love's not going to be a Daniel Jones. He will be a top 10 starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that's his floor. I think his ceiling seriously can be a top 5 quarterback. He's that talented. He's that athletic. And again, it's a marriage of the player and the situation. I think he's in a great situation, but it's going to be interesting of how competitive the NFC North again will be for years to come with Caleb Williams, with Jared Goff in Detroit, and we'll see what happens with the quarterback situation in Minnesota, but Minnesota has the best receiver in the game.
For sure.
All right, well, and what's trending with this? Tom Brady, he was doing a jersey signing, bunch of jerseys, Brady jerseys, and then one gets dropped in front of him. It's a number 10. It's white, and the last name on the back is Manning. Tom Brady, he gives a look up. We have a video for you guys. We'll show you this. Looks up at whoever's running this autograph signing going, what the hell is going on right now?
With the red numbers, man.
Yeah, the white with the red numbers, that classic Giants away jersey.
Yeah.
And so as he's signing it, puts on it, goes F off, except he does all 4 letters on that one.
Yeah.
F off to Eli Manning. That's a simple message.
Yeah, Eli was a good sport about it. He signed the jersey, of course, and then put good game on it. It's a great classic response. Eli knows he has no business beating Tom Brady in 2 Super Bowls, but it's one of those things. He got him. So who cares?
Eli could write good game times 2.
Yeah.
Got 2 rings on him.
he could.
The only person in the world that could say they got the best of Tom Brady. Him and what was it, Sam Bankman-Friedman or whatever?
Yeah.
Him and the kid with the crypto.com that ran like Steph Curry, Tom Brady, whoever else. Yeah. Those are the 2 people that say they got the best of Tom Brady. Hey, check out the latest episode of Foxborough Rush. I was joined by Sean McGuire. That's dropping every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On the latest episode, we talk about who he expects to be cut from Patriots training camp. We go more in depth with the Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers holding, and then we go through as well, ranking the top 10 teams in the NFL. Again, that's Foxborough Rush. Wherever you get your podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime, please like, subscribe, rate, and review. Or if you're watching, Nesson, YouTube, and Twitch as well. And make sure while you're on the chat, you want to leave us a voicemail, call in 617-790-0928 or email us thechat@nesson.com to join the conversation. We'll have one of those later on in the show. But let's get into the conversation talking about the GOAT and Tom Brady. Lamar Jackson and what his head coach John Harbaugh had to say about him. He says Lamar Jackson will be, and I quote, recognized as the greatest quarterback ever, end quote, in the history of the NFL. Man, I like that John Harbaugh, let me start with this, did this after they paid Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
For as long as that holdout went, they gave him that 5-year deal, paid him handsomely, which they should have. He's their best offensive player. And again, you have somebody. But he will go down as the greatest quarterback ever in the history of the NFL. To do that, you got to win a ring. He doesn't have one. And also, you got to perform in the playoffs. Lamar doesn't do that either.
Not one, though. Not one of. He said recognized as the greatest quarterback ever in NFL history. It's a crazy statement. Obviously, you expect it from his coach.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It makes sense. Who is he? Who else is he supposed to say? He's not going to say Mahomes. You know what I mean?
He could have said one of.
He could have.
He said the.
He said the. But
that's
I
my
like
issue
it
with this.
because that's the kind of confidence, though, that Lamar plays with. He thinks he is the best quarterback in the NFL. And I think last year, shows that he can play as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he honestly had a better year than you probably would say Patrick Mahomes had in the regular season.
Yes.
Not in the playoffs.
Yes.
So, obviously it's good to install some kind of, just validity in his quarterback and some hype in his quarterback and get him excited. But we all know that he's playing against what is probably going to be the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
And that's Mahomes.
When he retires, at least. And that's Patrick Mahomes.
And this is what you want from your head coach, too, coming off your second MVP winning season. He got in 2019, got in 2023, and he's a vastly different player now than he was in 2019. This is a guy coming out of college at Louisville, won the Heisman, put up crazy numbers, but was said by a bunch of experts that he should move to receiver because of his athleticism, didn't believe in him as a quarterback, proved them wrong time and time again. But you said it. Will he go down as the greatest ever? I don't have that confidence. I think he's a great quarterback, and he'll be one of the greatest, right? Top 10, top 15. But the greatest ever, I just don't see it in his game. There is one guy in the league, and if this was Josh Allen, I'd say same thing. I don't know.
Right.
If it was Joe Burrow, if it was CJ Stroud, shoot, come 2 years from now, if they go, it's Jordan Love, I'd go, I don't know.
Right.
But the guy that he's going to face in every AFC championship game to get to the Super Bowl, that's why that guy, I'm confident to say, will go down as the greatest ever. Because Patrick Mahomes, there's no one like him. For the success he had, just his second year in the league, first full year as a starter, then a breakthrough and win his first Super Bowl in 2019, 2020. To come up short in a couple. Tom Brady stopping him, but now it's just all him.
Yeah, it might be a situation, though, like Eli, where we see Lamar get a game or 2 games against Patrick Mahomes, and he's looked at as one of the pillars of obviously Baltimore, but not a guy that we look at as, the best ever. I think he really does put up video game numbers, and people want to hate because if you're not a Baltimore fan, you hate the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
They're one of those teams that are very polarizing.
Because they're so good every year.
Yeah, but it's just every single year that he's healthy, right? He's always in MVP conversation. So he does have an opportunity. If he goes on a kind of a run like Patrick Mahomes, we don't know. He's still a young guy, obviously, in this league. We thought, maybe the athleticism will slow down because he got those injuries earlier on in his career. He still looks like one of the fastest, if not the fastest quarterback in the league. One of the fastest, period. You know what I mean? So he has an opportunity to create that narrative, but we got to see him win a Super Bowl first.
That's get me started on one. Let me see you can do it. Yep. Prove it to me that you can do it. We know he's a leader of a team. He's one of the best talents in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league by far. But you said it. I just need to see more. I need to see you break through. I like that call that he could finish with a couple rings, but still the gap between the GOAT and Eli.
Yeah.
And I think Lamar, because of how dynamic he is, how good he's been for this long, I think he's going to finish as a better quarterback than Eli.
Sure.
But
yeah.
The thing is, though, if he doesn't get those rings and people go, yeah, he's a better quarterback, but what did he win? And if he doesn't win anything. So you got to break through and win that first one for me.
Yes, 100%. Winning one in the NFL is everything. It puts you in a different group, and Eli's in that group right now, and Lamar's not.
And Eli is seen as is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's a borderline guy, but I feel like when you look at Lamar, even if he goes through the rest of his career kind of being this guy who might win MVP, might not win MVP, but never has the playoff success, I don't think he will go down as a Hall of Famer and touch that gold jacket.
Until he gets a ring.
I
think of how he's changed the game. He's a new breed of quarterback, and we've seen athletic QBs come in but fizzle out.
Yep.
But he's been able to stay healthy. He's been able to develop his game and change it, but never loses that ability of being the baddest dude on the field, but only has gotten better as a pocket passer. He went from a great passer to one of the best in the league. So I think if his game keeps evolving and he keeps putting up these numbers, coming off a career high in passing attempts and yards, but only 24 passing touchdowns, but still 5 rushing, years like that. And again, first year in his Todd Monken system in Baltimore, that's the thing. If he keeps growing, I do think he can be a Hall of Famer without a ring. But then you could be a Hall of Famer. You're one of 6 people, let's say, getting into that class in that particular year.
Yeah.
But then when you look back all time, the GOAT conversation is different than the Hall of Fame conversation. And they should be the same.
Right.
if you're a Hall of Famer, you should be one of the GOATs. But a lot of people get into the Hall of Fame, and you're recognizing the sport for its greatness. And I think what Lamar Jackson represents of when he came into the league as a black quarterback, the racism he faced in his evaluations coming out of the draft, still what he faces right now, all into that. That's why I think that he would go into the Hall of Fame. It's more than football for him. But at the end of the day, him only as a football player, I would still put him in. I think his ability is that good. But I get your case for the winning, though.
Yeah, and I love that you bring up that topic of like the hardships that he had to face as a player coming into this league, because obviously just going back and looking at like the quarterbacks who were before him or around him, like you look at Terrell Pryor, he was a great college quarterback, right? And they were like, no, receiver, automatically off rip, you know what I mean? You look at other guys like Jalen Hurts, who came in and they were like, oh, well, maybe he should play another, position. He's kind of opened up the mind of the NFL GM and owner or whatever to be like, hey, this guy, just because he's the most athletic player on our team doesn't mean he needs to play another position. He's shown that he has touch. He's carried his whole entire career with grace. Honestly, there's not knocks about what he does off the field. He does a lot of great things off the field as well. He's been a great champion and a great leader for quarterbacks as a whole, African-American quarterbacks as a whole, and I think that narrative will definitely help carry his legacy. But once again, gotta win a ring.
To be a GOAT, has to win a ring, for sure. Now, this does put this quote from John Harbaugh. He'll be recognized as the greatest quarterback ever. The one thing this does do, and I understand that's how your coach should talk about it. You should have that confidence, and you should have that belief. That puts a lot of hype on him. Because then there can be people, if he finishes his career, and he's not even close to being one of the GOATs. Like, remember that time John Harbaugh said this, and they'll call John Harbaugh an idiot? They just had me thinking of, like, Lamar is not in this conversation, for sure. But those overhyped dudes we've seen, whether coming out of college or shown those flashes as a pro that fizzled out. If I go with coming out of college, Zach Wilson. Second overall pick by the Jets. He had that one pro day. What did he do? He rolled out to his left, reset his feet, slung it literally across the field, down the right sideline, hit his quarterback in his lap. All the arm strength, but has rocks for brains. Can't read a defense, doesn't know how to execute an NFL offensive playbook. To me, it's one of the most overhyped guys I've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember in high school, just growing up, watching a lot of Pac-12 football, obviously from the West Coast, watching Pac-12 football, and I got to see Mark Sanchez and Marcus Mariota. Dude, those two dudes just were so hyped coming into the draft that they're in their draft class years, and it was honestly warranted because they were winning. So they looked unbeatable, honestly, in college. Mark Sanchez with USC, Marcus Mariota with the Oregon. Dude, it was like you go into that game, you're putting up 50 points. If you don't put up 50 points, you're losing to USC or you're losing to Oregon that night. That's just kind of how it felt back in those days. So coming into their draft classes, I think they were both the second quarterbacks taken off the list with their, in their respective classes. And they were just the guy. Everybody was like, oh, they're going to change the New York Jets. They're going to change the Tennessee Titans. And they were both so bad. Just awful. So, hype when you talk about coming out of college, those two come to mind.
Mariota had 2 good years, and good is the most I'll give him in Tennessee.
Good.
And then he could never pan out. Was terrible in Atlanta. Didn't work in Oakland. But I think he's bought into his role. He's with the Commanders now, on the roster, and that describes it.
Right.
Sanchez, dude, the guys out of USC, Matt Leinart. Was it John David Booty and then Mark Sanchez?
Yeah, I think Booty was before, in between those two.
Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Career backup. But again, I put him as a victim of the Jets. A lot of USC quarterbacks to come out.
Yep.
I think of Notre Dame. There's Brady Quinn. There's Jimmy Clausen.
Yep.
I remember Jimmy Clausen as the high school recruit was seen as the guy, both of them, to lead Notre Dame to a national championship.
Yeah.
Brady Quinn didn't get close. Jimmy Clausen didn't get close. Clausen was picked by the Panthers and was terrible.
Yep.
And he's doing all the overhyped stuff. So those are the guys that come to mind. I like that Marcus Mariota, Mark Sanchez pick. Same thing. The hype's different, and again, I'm going on college because I think by the time he got to the pros, you're I don't know if he can do that against the NFL. But Johnny Manziel, you were picked 22nd overall by the Browns. You were given the keys to the Ferrari.
Yep.
And what sucks with him is he didn't live up to the hype just because he had no accountability. He didn't have a good team around him because he wouldn't watch film at all, wouldn't care, would go out and play, make some plays.
Right.
And he got away with it at A&M, especially in his first year because no one knew what to expect.
Yeah.
He lived everyone's dream. To be like the rock star, to be the man in college football.
Yep.
Literally, I mean, the way he introduced himself to the world is upsetting Alabama, beating Nick Saban, taking that, running with it. Of course, he had Mike Evans with him in A&M too.
Yep.
But just look at what the separation was. Mike Evans is going to go down as one of the all-time great receivers. Johnny Manziel was never an even factor in the NFL.
No, he wasn't. And like you said, the Texas A&M Johnny Manziel highlights, dude, like I'm going to watch him after we finish this episode. He was so electric. He had Drake making songs about him.
Yeah, that's right. Draft day, Johnny Manziel.
So he was huge. And it makes sense that like there would be this much hype about him because like he looked like an average American, you know what I mean? He was like a smaller guy for a quarterback, you know, white man, obviously, and just like didn't look like he should be super athletic.
Scrawny,
but then he
small.
was right. But then he was just super fast with the football. You couldn't tackle him or take him down. He could stretch any play and make a huge play out of it. And then he was having fun while he was doing it. Like you said, he was loud, but braggadocious, all of those things. So Johnny Manziel is definitely a good call. The other guy that I quickly want to talk about too is Vince Young. Vince Young was kind of annoying for me because growing up SC fan, what he did to us in that national championship game, I will never forget.
I mean, Reggie Bush is my all-time favorite college football player, so I was very upset with that national championship too. Trust me.
But he came into the league, dude. He was the cover of Madden after year 2. And then after that, he had the knee injury for 3 weeks, came back, and he still got benched for Kerry Collins. And Kerry Collins obviously went on to take the Titans. I think they were 13-3 that year. And then they ended up giving him the starting job back after Kerry Collins started off terrible the next year, 0-6. And then he kind of, got comeback player of the year. And everybody was like, okay, he has a chance to be the guy that we thought he was going to be. But he was never that great. Honestly, I went and looked back at his stats, and he never really had a year that he threw more touchdowns than he threw interceptions. The first 2 years,
great revisionist history on Vince Young because it was all those fourth quarter comebacks in his rookie season.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all the comebacks he led Tennessee to. Then gets rookie of the year and there's something special with this guy. And it was the Vince Young that we remember from the Rose Bowl.
Exactly.
And it was it's the same one. He's a gamer, but he was never that good.
Exactly. Like I look at it, rookie year, 12 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Sophomore year, 9 touchdowns, 17 picks.
His second year in the NFL.
Second year in the NFL. Then they give him the Madden cover.
Yep.
Couldn't be any more overhyped than that.
Yeah. I think that's a great call.
Yeah.
I never looked up Vince Young's stats.
Yeah.
To find that out. What were the following years?
The following year, so the year obviously like I talked about where he got hurt in week 3, he was supposed to miss 3 games. He only got 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and then it was 10-7, 10-3, and then he moved on to Philly where he was a backup and he was 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
As
and
a
then
backup, that's terrible.
And then he retired.
He was on that Philly. They were calling it the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Because he was there. I think what year was that when he was at Philly?
It was 2011.
Mike Vick was still there.
Yep, exactly.
They had all those receivers. I think even cornerbacks. They had Nnamdi Asomugha, but he was washed up by that point. Yep. Damn, that's a throwback name, Nnamdi Asomugha.
Nnamdi Asomugha.
Catch him acting now.
Right.
My final one.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy.
And that is the hype that was built up when he was drafted by the Patriots. Then Tom Brady goes into Robert Kraft's office, goes over Bill Belichick's head. It's like, you got to trade this guy. Either he's going or I'm going. I'm not dealing with him.
Yeah.
Because he knew Jimmy's going to get paid, and that comes with when you move on from a veteran quarterback. And Tom Brady's like, I still have it. I don't want to leave.
Right.
Looking back on it now, TB12 can be like, I'm getting out of here. Get me to a coach I can actually draft. But he wasn't going to leave. So Jimmy Garoppolo traded to the 49ers for a second-round pick when it came out later that the Patriots could have gotten a first-round pick, but Bill Belichick was being petty to the Patriots, being petty to the Cleveland Browns, who fired him.
Yep. Played
Played 5 games, 300-plus yards per game that offseason. 5-year, $137 million extension. Week 3, tears his ACL, is done. 2019 bounces back, throws for almost 4,000 yards, take the 49ers to the Super Bowl. 2020 high ankle sprain, just never got healthy.
Yeah.
And now he's with the Rams. Just a backup with the Rams.
Yeah.
Dude, but he was overhyped, and it was the glow of being a Patriots quarterback, right? Like, oh, if Bill Belichick picked him, that means he's good. And he would put up numbers a few years. Wasn't anything insane, but he would carry a team and took the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Missed on a deep post. And that could have changed his whole trajectory as a starter because maybe the Niners actually beat the Chiefs that year in the Super Bowl and win it. But didn't pan out, and I just think, again, a really overhyped guy.
So if you had to give me a top 3, could you run through a top 3 for me really quickly of overhyped quarterbacks that didn't work out?
I like that pick that you went with off the rip. I like the Marcus Mariota one, but if I'm going off pure hype, so I'm going college or when they were in a pro.
Yeah, it's up to you.
So that's why I go Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Because everyone was all over him, and he's just
he's at 3 or 1?
Amounted to nothing. I'll go Zach Wilson 1.
Okay.
All right, and then my 2, I would go on this one with Jimmy Garoppolo because he got paid by a team. So I would do that. Okay. 3 in the overhype, and I just think it's the funniest thing ever, but is Matt Flynn. Plays a 1 game for the Packers, sets every single game record. The Seahawks give him the bag in the offseason, then he gets beat out by a 4th-round pick in Russell Wilson.
Okay, if I had to rank off 3 really quickly, I love all the names that we did, but a guy who was super hyped in college that I remember just kind of being around that, going to high school in that area, Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen at 3, him in the first round, 10th pick, 2018, super hyped. He was supposed to have all the tools, all the
man
things.
At UCLA covers the Sports Illustrated in his hot tub in his dorm room. The only
questions that they had about him was whether he was a nice guy or not. He was really kind of just not a nice guy to the media or whatever, not a nice guy to his teammates. I think there was a big issue with him, like missing a teammate's birthday or something like that when it was supposed to be a big deal, or not inviting any of his teammates to his birthday party. Is that what they got,
like the draft day scene from, where like they were between quarterbacks? You
I
see
think
draft
so.
day?
Yeah.
And the GM's like, you see the guest list? He's like, none of his teammates went, so they pick like the running back instead.
I think that's where they got it from. So Josh Rosen would be 3 for me. Blake Bortles would be another guy more on the NFL side. He had a great first 2 years of his career, and then after that,
he had like a good 4 years.
Okay, like 4
years. But he
was
was always on a losing team.
Right. Yeah, and then the next one was Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz one time was regarded as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I don't think that he was ever that good. It's the Philly hype narrative, you know what I mean?
He would have won an MVP, but then he tore in his ACL.
Yeah.
And then Nick Foles led him to the Super Bowl to win it.
Exactly. And he didn't do anything in Indiana.
Again, Carson Wentz, like you're talking about Josh Rosen being like a prick. Carson Wentz was the same way.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take coaching, and that's why he fizzled out in Philly, fizzled out in Indy, fizzled out in Washington.
Yeah.
And now he's in Kansas City, where he doesn't have to play, so I guess you don't got to coach him. You just got to hope he runs the system if it comes to that. Last one, you dropped it to me. You're like, you remember, you said Tate Martell, and I'm like, is that the kid from Blue Mountain State? And you go, no, that's a kid from QB1, right? Or whatever it was. Yeah. He went 45-0 at Bishop Gorman, Gatorade Player of the Year. He committed to, I think, like Mississippi State decommitted, Washington decommitted, then committed to Ohio State, beat out by Dwayne Haskins. Was going to compete the next year. Justin Fields transfers in from Georgia, beats him out. Transfers to Miami, switches from quarterback to wide receiver, transfers to UNLV, and then ended up retiring from football in his college career, going 2 for 6 for 7 passing yards between 3 schools. Went from 45-0 at Bishop Gorman, one of the best schools you can play for. Gatorade Player of the Year. That thing isn't a fluke. 5-star recruit. But just whatever it was, I don't know what didn't work out for him in college, but...
And you want to know what's the craziest thing? In high school, he was throwing the ball to DTR. And DTR. Dorian Thomas-Robinson.
Yes.
From UCLA.
Yeah.
And he ended up playing quarterback for UCLA.
Yes.
And then obviously got drafted, or I think he might have been
with the Browns.
Free agent, whatever, with the Browns in the NFL. So it's like, it's funny.
He's throwing the ball to DTR, makes it to the NFL.
Right. And DTR was a receiver then, and he ended up being a receiver, and DTR is an NFL quarterback.
And that was in high school they were playing together?
Yeah, high school at Gorman.
I love this deep talk, high school football talk.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I plugged it earlier. I said email us at thechat@nesson.com. Please do the same. This might be tied to you because we got a Brandon from Los Angeles writing in. Is it free money to bet on Nick Castellanos' home run whenever a significant news event happens? Brandon, I'm going to say yes. And Tay, I got the list.
Okay.
Now, this is via Twitter. I didn't double check and cross check all the dates. But here's a list of all the Castellanos home runs during significant events. Apology for homophobic slur used by that awful broadcaster. Screw that guy. Career-threatening injury for Fernando Tatis Jr. He hit a home run then too. 9/11 tribute video package on air. I'm guessing that's during like a Phillies game. Castellanos hits a home run. Apology of opposing team's coach getting a DUI, probably happening during the broadcast again. Castellanos home run. 10 minutes after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Love that.
Oh, man.
Cancer announcement for his team's owner. Vince Scully death announcement. Yeah. An hour after the death of Queen Elizabeth was announced, Castellanos hit a home run. That and the Will Smith one are my favorites. Sorry to the royal family. My condolences. The Ocean Gate submarine explosion. That's so whenever crazy. That happened, Castellanos hit a home run on that day.
Yep.
2 home runs on the anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Damn, that's messed up. Sorry about that.
That is messed up.
Trump assassination attempt. He hit a home run against the Athletics.
Yep.
Biden withdraws from the presidential race. Castellanos hit a home run. And what I read, too, there was a comment under this tweet. It was that he hit a home run on the day Osama bin Laden was killed. But he was in the minor leagues at the time in Michigan. Okay. But he still hit a home run then.
That's crazy, bro. Like, he is really just like a merchant for these bad events, bro, or these significant events, as Brandon said. That's really crazy to think about. Like, he almost hit 2, actually, the other day for the Biden news when he was stepping down. He had one that got to the warning track, and I thought it left. I think he thought it left. He started to look at it and then, do a little bit of a trot, and then ended up, I think he turned it just to a single or a double. But then, obviously, just the one that he hit out, like, he freaking just reached so far for it. I was like,
and it was at the end of the game too. He knew he had to do it.
It's like Angels in the Outfield,
now
bro.
Or never.
It's literally like Angels in the Outfield. Like, you remember that movie, bro?
Yes.
It just feels like they're just like back there tracking the ball out for him every single time. It's gonna happen.
I wonder, like, is there someone in the Phillies clubhouse, like, middle of the game, it's happening, they just go up to Castellanos, like, Biden stepped down. He goes, "Oh, okay, thanks." And he's like, "Now I know what to do." And he like goes out and goes for a home run.
Right, or he just like listens to CPR before the game. NPR before the game.
CPR of like people. I would believe it too.
No, NPR before the games, and he's just like, "This is how I get locked in."
Well,
he's a weird guy. I would believe it.
Yeah, I believe it. I went back to 2023. So the anniversary of Hiroshima, August 6th. He hit 1 home run against the Royals.
Yeah.
Nagasaki happened August 9th. So 3 days later, he hit 2 home runs.
Yeah.
On that day against Nagasaki. So 3 home runs altogether on those 2 anniversaries combined. What got me was when he hit the 2 home runs on August 9th, it was against the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
So he got back. It was like revenge. He was like, DC, you called it. You pressed the button to make that happen.
Right.
So he kind of avenged it a little bit.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Brandon.
Yes. Bet on Nick Castellanos.
Yes. Bet on Nick Castellanos. Do it twice. Do it 3 times. It was also funny, though.
10 minutes after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and the death of Queen Elizabeth. Like, those fall in the same Venn diagram.
But yeah, and it was also funny because, like, I think DraftKings or something like that had to bet up. They kept it up, then took it down because so many people were betting on it. It's such a big deal.
They have to reset the number.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, definitely bet on it. No question. I don't know if you're a betting man. I'm not. So don't listen to me. Listen to George. I know he bets his money from time to time. I don't.
The one thing you lose is that election day. It's not baseball season.
Yeah.
And neither is inauguration day. So what's like the next pivotal thing? I don't know.
Who knows? I feel like, it's almost a little like, I don't know, like we're leaning into it too much. Like anything that happens now, it's like a big deal. You know what I mean? And he hits a home run. Like he can hit a home run on any night, and they're gonna be like, "Oh,
what happened on this date in 1947?"
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Look, I don't know if that whole tweet was true. I'm just gonna pretend like it is because to me it makes it so much better. The existence of Nick Castellanos. Yeah. My favorite is still the day of the Ocean Gate submarine implosion. Castellanos hits a home run.
He's got to have a nickname for this now. Like, what would it be?
Doom. We might have given him the best nickname ever.
And he's got to come up to bat playing MF Doom every single time.
Yes,
that would be dope.
He rocks the mask, takes it off as he comes out of the dugout.
That would be hey, we're making you some money, Nick Castellanos. You got to take these ideas. We're giving them to you for free.
We're your marketing team. We got you, Nick. All right, let's wrap it up talking some Olympic basketball. We just saw USA, hanging on. Just happened not too long ago against Germany. Yep. But SB Nation put out the top 10 basketball players at the 2024 Olympics on the men's side. Mm-hmm. So, number 1, Nikola Jokic. Tough to dispute that. He's the best player in the world.
Yep.
Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay. I'm thinking of best player, not who I want to watch the most, but there's an overlap there.
Yeah.
3, SGA. 4 Steph Curry, 5 LeBron James, 6 Kevin Durant, who hasn't played a minute yet, 7 Joel Embiid, 8 Rudy Gobert, 9 Anthony Davis, 10 Jason Tatum. I'll let you go. Joel Embiid at 7 and Rudy Gobert at 8? Joel Embiid can't even move. Where's Wemby? Where's Jamal Murray, let alone Joel Embiid? Go.
Here's my thing. I'm not even sure if Joel Embiid is a top 10 player on Team USA.
Yes, agree.
So
the way he's playing right now, he looks like
the way he's playing right now, yeah. I don't know if he's a top 10 player on USA. And then when I look at Rudy Gobert, he's also not the best player on his team. So why is he the best Frenchman listed? Yeah. You know what I mean? That goes to Victor Wembanyama. The French team has been struggling a little bit. I can give them that. Lost the last 4 games. But Wemby had the opportunity to win the game against Australia the other night, and they drew up a play for Wembanyama, not Gobert. That tells you who the best player is on the team.
Yes.
So get Rudy Gobert out of here and be out of here.
KD, I wouldn't even put on there.
KD, yeah. I haven't even really seen Shea play Olympic basketball, so I can't say, he's better than these guys. As an NBA player, yeah, but it's a different game. Top 5
player in the league.
You know what I mean? It's a different game. He's with a different team. We'll see how it goes. So I'm willing to put him out. The guy that I was most shocked to see that wasn't in there, and they have him up there at 12, definitely should be a top 10 player. Once again, a guy that I think is the best player on Team USA. On Team USA, not in the NBA.
You almost said NBA.
Not in the NBA. On Team USA, playing right now is Anthony Edwards. I think he should be a top 10 guy on this list. Okay. No question about it. And then also I like what Dennis Schroeder does when he plays for Germany. They have him all the way down at 23. I think he should be somewhere in that top 15, maybe 20 range, 15 to 20 range.
I was just going with replacement level guys, right? I see Joel Embiid and Rudy Gobert. I can't say get him out without saying who to put in.
Yep.
I'll agree with Anthony Edwards. I would bump Anthony Edwards to 6 on this list because LeBron, the way he's been taking over games for USA when they needed him to, still got it in him international level.
Saw him take over in this game that we just watched, yeah, for sure.
Put Anthony Edwards in over Embiid for sure.
Yep.
Put Wemby in over Gobert for sure. Then I would even get into I'm looking at replacements for Rudy Gobert, Franz Wagner, Jamal Murray.
Franz Wagner.
I'm a huge Lou Dort fan. I'd rather put Lou Dort in over Rudy Gobert.
You're disrespectful with the Franz Wagner. Come on, Lou Dort.
Lou Dort over Rudy Gobert.
Oh my God.
The best defensive guard in the league. Only dude stronger than Drew Holiday, you could say. You saw what he did to Luka?
Yeah. Why is Tyrese Halliburton above Derek White though and Dennis Schroeder?
Where's Halliburton on the list?
Halliburton on the list, 18.
Where's Derek White?
Derek White is 19.
No.
Right, exactly.
You see Tyrese no, because Derek White's smarter than him. Yeah, we were watching USA Basketball.
Right.
We were seeing Tyrese Halliburton execute, and I go, you know why it's working? Because he doesn't have to think. He doesn't have to be the best player and make the decisions. He just has to make a play. When he has to actually be a leader and the best player, he's screwed because he's a dumb basketball player at this point.
We saw him last year with FIBA. He was terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So why is he getting the nod at 18? 18th? I don't think he's the 18th.
I'll put Derek White over him.
SB Nation is just thinking about it. It's not this is Olympic
international rules.
It's international rules. It's a different game, right?
More physical.
So guys like Wemby, and Gobert probably should move up higher on the list because they can take the ball off the rim. That's a huge part of the international game, right? That we don't have here. It would be goaltending.
Explain it, but if it's literally spinning on the rim, they can take it off
the rim. Exactly. When in the NBA, that's goaltending. If it's on the rim or above the cylinder, it's goaltending.
Yes.
You can do that in the FIBA rules, whatever. The ball's hovering around the rim, you can literally take it off. Once it obviously hits the rim, you can't freaking just take it out of the air. You know what I mean? On the way down. There still are some rules. This isn't anarchy. This isn't, do what you want. But yeah, bro, you have to give some grace to the guys who actually do things for their country, right? Was Carmelo the best player on Team USA as far as being the best player? No, but he's one of the best Olympians all time for Team USA because of what he does when he puts that jersey on, right?
Yes.
So when you look at guys like Dennis Schroeder, who is at 23, who has been doing a lot of great things for his country. Franz Wagner, like you talked about, has done a lot of great things for Germany, the team that dethroned USA last year in the FIBA World Cup. You know what I'm saying? These are guys who have actually done things for on the Olympic stage. You have to put guys like Joel Embiid, who's a great NBA player, but from what we've seen when this list comes out.
These Olympics, he's been terrible.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a showcase. Obviously, none of these count yet, but
he still looks bad. Coming back from a knee injury, dealing with Bell's palsy, out of shape. He looks like.
And what other information do we have on him in the in a world global game sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We've only really seen him in the NBA games. You can't put him on the top 7, he's 7, so top 7 on the list when he's been bad in the games that he's played at Olympic level.
Mm-hmm. Dylan Brooks making the top 25 and Josh Giddey making the top 25.
Okay, but Josh Giddey,
international experience.
Exactly, and he has been hooping a little bit with Australia. The first half that he played, I watched that game that he played against USA, and I watched a little bit of the game that he played against France. He was doing it decent in that game, but the first half that he played against USA, he was terrible. He was the Josh Giddey that we're going to see in Chicago this year, right? The guy that's terrible, the Giddler. But he did play really well in the second half, and he was the reason that Australia stuck around with USA in that game. So you have to give him the nod at 25. I don't really hate that. Andrew Nembhard, also haven't really seen him play for Canada much, but he did have a great – I think it's recency bias too. Like Andrew Nembhard had a great playoffs, had
and
a
that's
great
what they're
run,
basing it off
and they're
of.
basing it off of that. But like, yeah.
They probably had this thing in the vault and just sent it out, and they nuked it. And, I mean, it couldn't have been better timing, especially after the game that South Sudan had against USA. Again, if we're going off recency and what we've seen in this showcase, how good like a Kaman Malawak had played.
Yeah, off the bench for sure. Yeah, he played a great game.
Who's the other? Oh, Carlick Jones. 25, 11, and 11.
I wish he would have scored more efficiently. I think I talked about it with you yesterday. Like, I wish he would have made that floater and really, like, stamped it and beat USA.
Closed out the game and
closed out the game. But, yeah, Shyok obviously played extremely well for them. Virginia kid, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, bro, there's some guys who actually are playing great basketball with the with the name on the front of their jersey saying a country, and a lot of these guys on this list have not. So how can you call them the top 25, top 10 players at the 2024 Olympics when they haven't even done anything for their country?
I just hate that Dylan Brooks is somewhere even on this list.
Yeah, bro.
Get him off there. If anything, if I'm messing with the top 3, I'm bumping LeBron from 5 to 3 and bumping SGA down.
Yeah, so let's look, because we didn't really talk about this top 5, right? So can we talk about the top 5? Like, how would you re-rank that? Because I think
I don't move Jokic. He's the best player in the world. He has international experience.
I kind of would, because like he hasn't really been doing as much for Serbia. Maybe he's tired or whatever recently, and what I've watched in their showcase games as well. Giannis has really been putting grease on his back.
As he always does.
You know what I'm saying? And Giannis is a guy who we always contend for best player in the world. So I think he should probably move up to 1. Shea, I haven't really been watching Canada too much, but I haven't heard
1, 2 I keep. Either. I go 1, 2, Jokic, Giannis, 3, LeBron.
Okay.
I would go Steph, stick him at 4, and I put SGA just outside on that top 5. Maybe even I might be bumping Steph and then put Wemby into that top 5. Yeah, because that France team's legit. They're going to be the second best team in this tournament.
Yeah, I think I'd probably do Giannis 1, Jokic 2. I got to put Bron at 3 because of the way he closed out that game against Germany and the way he closed out the game against South Sudan as well. So I got to give him that nod at 3. And then I probably go Curry. And then for me personally,
I
would go Anthony Davis at 5. And then like 6, I would probably put Anthony Edwards.
Yes.
So
AD's been the MVP. Him and LeBron have been the MVPs for Team USA.
Yeah. And then Tatum's done a lot of great things for USA as well throughout his entire career. Yeah. So I would give him the nod up there, I think, at 7. After that, KD. I think I put KD at 7, and then Jason Tatum at 8.
I can't wait to see the game that LeBron and AD have been playing, carry it over to Lakers season and take them to a chip.
Yeah. Sure.
Ountae, our resident Lakers fan.
No, stop doing me like that, bro. Stop. Reformed, okay? I don't root for that team. I stopped rooting for that team back in, like, what was it, 2017, 2016? You know the reasons why I stopped rooting for that team. But I'm over it. Yeah, I'm not a Laker fan anymore. Stop putting that on my name.
Born again NBA fan, Ountae Campbell.
Yes.
That'll be your title.
Thank you.
That'll be on your gravestone.
Put some respect on my name, all right?
Hey, this was Boston has entered the chat wherever you're listening. Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. I'll put respect on that. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, and review if you're watching on YouTube, on Nessa. NESN, NESN's Twitch as well. Please do the same, subscribe and comment. Again, email the chat at NESN.com like our boy from Los Angeles did today.
Yeah. Email us. I'm so tired of y'all not telling me, Ountae, I love the show. It's so great. Well, send in some questions because I'm interested in what you guys got to say. You guys give me all these hot takes when I'm walking around Boston and say all these crazy things. Well, send it to us. We want to respond.
Sending the message to his boys. I'm George Balekji. He's Ountae Campbell. This is Boston has entered the chat from the PNC Bank studio. We'll see you guys next time. Later.
Peace.